Hey, it's David Pingree. Welcome to another Dialed In. We've got the 2019 Husqvarna FC250, and already done the introduction on this bike. Out here today just trying to get this thing tweaked and really set up and pass along some good tips for you if you're setting yours up. This one is a little more difficult to feel changes. It's not as, the changes we make aren't as dramatic as they are on the 450 because you don't have the weight or all the horsepower of that bike. But there's still some changes we made to get this thing really comfortable and working well. Starting with the maps, again, the difference between the first map and second map. First map meant to have a little more bottom, a little harder hit. Second one meant to come on a little smoother and rev out further. The difference between those two is more subtle on this bike. I've actually gone back and forth, and there's certain sections of the track I like map 1 and certain sections I like 2. So it's going to be something on this bike you're going to just want to play with and dial into the track you're riding or racing. But get familiar with both of them and how they feel, because they do have things, subtle little characteristics that one does better than the other. I like the traction control on all the time. I don't notice anything bad about it being on. So it just helps kind of pick up little mistakes that you'd make where you get a little too much throttle or wheel spin. It's a no-brainer, just leave it on. Again, like I mentioned with all these Husqvarnas, go to the short throw throttle cam. It'll come with a gray one. There's an optional black one that's a shorter throw. It just lessens arm pump, a lot less rotation and regrip and things like that, a lot better. A fork height on these, second line, Husqvarna does not recommend changing those. That's a good position. If you need to adjust ride height, do it with air pressure, and we'll get into that. So standard air pressure on this 250 is 10.3 bar. A little bit softer than what comes on the other bikes, but we still went back up to 10.8. That, according to these Husqvarna guys, they're saying that's sort of across the board. 10.3 bar is pretty soft. So unless you're a really little guy or you ride way off the back and you just like your front end soft, you're going to want to think about bumping that up at least 10.5. Again, I went to 10.8, and I think that's you're going to probably want 10.6, 10.8 would be my recommendation. Then on the settings, 15 out for fork rebound. I'm at 18 out. They also said that was a common adjustment made on this 250, was speeding up the rebound on the fork a little bit. I went 3 clicks, go maybe 2 and try that and kind of see how it feels. But it gives the fork just a more positive feeling, a little quicker feeling. It can tend to feel a little soft and dead initially with the initial settings. Rebound, compression, I'm at 12. So a little bit firmer on the compression. 15 clicks out is standard. Shock on the low speed, I'm at 17 clicks out, so a little bit softer there. And high speed is 2 1/4, so a little bit softer there. Again, your standard is 2 1/2 and 15 clicks. And then the rebound, I'm at 15 clicks out, so it didn't touch the rebound on the shock. And the high speed's at 2 turns out. I'm at 2 1/4, so just a little softer. For me, it kind of allowed the bike to settle into ruts a little bit better and didn't pop up and kind of hit me in the butt so much coming into turns. So those were the changes I made. Again, it really mirrored what we've done on the 450 and 350 as well in terms of the direction. Some of the numbers are slightly different, but the overall changes were sort of the same on all 3 bikes, which makes sense. And we had a couple different riders, so it's not just my own personal opinion. It's a general preference, and that seems to be changes that improve the way the bike works across the board. I will again add, like I did on the other bike, this is not an official Husqvarna stance, but you can go to the 2-stroke air filter cage, and that dramatically opens up airflow, especially on these smaller engines. Some holes in the side plate as well to add even more air. That is not Husqvarna's official stance, but it is something that we do on our garage build bikes. Race team guys do. It does improve performance. No changes to gearing on this thing. The brakes are good. It comes with good grips. I mean, really, the only modification, obviously we're always looking to squeeze more power out of a 250 engine. This thing revs to the moon. If I was going to make a change, if you're not happy with the suspension, you can try a spring conversion kit. Maybe throw some money at that, but these handle pretty well. A really good bolt-on is just the slip-on muffler. I know FMF sells one. This header is great. It looks cool. It's not heavy, but you can drop quite a bit of weight, add some performance, and add some looks with just a slip-on muffler. So that's my 2 cents. If I was going to spend some money on performance, that'd be one of the things I look at. And the other thing, too, I thought this was interesting. I always felt like the Husky bars were a little bit wide. and they come with a very low flat bend. And that is because they're Pro Taper bars, and Pro Taper uses the same length tube for all of their handlebars. So the more rise or the more sweep that you have, the more narrow the bar is going to be, right? So on a low flat bend, it's going to feel quite wide. So I cut a 1/2 inch off of either side. They've said like you can do 8 millimeters, 4 on each side. I don't care if you do it in American or metric, but I would recommend, if these bars feel wide to you a little bit, consider cutting the ends off. To me, it always just makes the bike feel a little more comfortable. These are sort of like Texas Longhorn bars. So, and that's why I thought that was interesting. I didn't know that. So thank you to Husky. These guys came out and hustled with us today and really got this thing working right. And if you have a Husqvarna 250, try those settings. We think you'll like it, and enjoy your bike all year. Thanks for watching.